was talking about, I'm like, should I bring him to the Kill Bill combined?
Oh, God.
11.
Nice.
He's in junior high, Heather. Come on, there's nothing to hide.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
They wouldn't let them in here.
And with that, welcome back to the Revisionist Almanac, now part of the Movie Archer Podcast Network. I'm Andrew, and we are here with something totally new to the show. This is one of many new things you're going to be expecting in 2026. We are here for the very first Oscars decade draft, and we're going all the way back. We're going retro with the 1990s. And I've got three friends and all three past guests that are going to help me draft Academy Award winners, directors, movies, performances, you name it. We're going to have a ton of stuff. Up first, I have the founder and the editor-in-chief of MovieArcher.com. He was, of course, on the 2016 Almanac episode to kick off Season 2. Let me welcome in Adam Freed. Adam, how are you, sir?
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. I am very excited to be drafting. I know that we've talked in previous episodes about maybe adding some new flavors to the RevAlmanac family, and this is certainly going to be a new flavor, and I could not be more excited to be on the inaugural episode of a draft, and especially with these other two stars that we have over here to share the episode with. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. This is going to be a good time. And next up, she's going to fit right in with Adam and myself because she was also on the 2016 Almanac episode along the two of us. We have brought royalty in the form of the Question Queen, and now she's the newest member of the RevAlmanac team as the show's European correspondent. Let me welcome in Heather Stewart. Hi, Heather.
Hi, guys. Very excited. Sleeves are rolled up. Let's do this.
The gloves are off. All right, and last but certainly not least, she was on the 1934 episode last season. She is a dear friend of mine for the last couple of years since we've both gotten into this space. She's recently launched her own podcast. It is, of course, the one and the only Klarissa Beckstead of I've Seen That One. Hi, Klarissa. It's been too long.
Hi. It has. What an intro. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy to be here. This is going to be a blast, and I'm really excited to dive into the 90s with all of you amazing people. This is going to be great.
People who
Gonna be a
lived
good
through
time.
the 90s.
Yes, all of us
years.
were there. Mine too.
Yeah.
I was born in 1999, for anyone
Just
listening.
for Adam and I, was like,
9 months of the 90s.
And just so listeners know, just as a point of perspective, and I think this is going to change the way that some people listen to this. So Klarissa was born in 1999, and I graduated high school in 1999. So we're coming at this thing from some very different perspectives. When Andrew told you, Klarissa, that this was going to be the 90s, he might as well have just said the 30s again, right? And so there's probably quite a bit of research that you had to do.
Yeah.
And side note, Klarissa, congratulations on your new podcast. I've caught a couple of episodes. Fantastic work that you're doing. I can't wait to see where it goes down the road.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been such a blast to dive into this world. But also same to you. I love everything that you've been doing with MovieArcher.com, everyone you're bringing in. And there's so many fun, exciting things for everyone. But yeah, thank you so much. It's been a really fun, new comfort zone to get comfortable in. If that even makes sense. Like, I'm excited to know. A fun challenge, yes.
There we go.
This is the first but not last crossover amongst the group. I promise you that. All right, so this is the very first Decades draft. So we have to kind of explain to people what exactly is going on. Before we get into the meat of this, let me explain the structure, give you a few ground rules so you're able to follow along as a listener, as a viewer. So each participant, myself and the three here, we will each have 7 draft picks, and we'll be choosing Oscar winners in the film years 1990 through 1999. Each participant will draft 1 Oscar winner from each of these categories: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, Supporting Actor and Supporting Actress, and of course the Wildcard, which is any Oscar winner in any category outside of those previous 6. Also, each participant can draft their picks in any order they want to, and when a participant drafts a particular movie, director, actor, actress, or wildcard, that designated movie cannot be picked by them again for the remainder of the draft, but it's still eligible for the other 3 participants. So an example would be if I draft Gene Hackman in supporting actor for Unforgiven, I would not be able to draft Unforgiven anywhere else on the board, but everyone else in the collective here still has that movie available to them. Make sense?
It does, and it complicates things.
Indeed,
we
it
could
does.
have done it even worse. We could have taken it completely off the table.
That would have gotten really sticky. Maybe I'll do that on the next decade.
Tom
We'll see how this one
Gmail,
goes.
He was suggesting that's what he would do to sign up
Oh my
everybody.
gosh.
That's too diabolical.
The suggestion made me incredibly anxious.
Then me throwing in, hey, let's do screenplays when I threw this in yesterday. Let's do that too.
Really, I think the main thing is we want to make sure all of us has the opportunity to draft the strongest team possible. And so we wanted to make sure a lot of those movies that ended up winning and sweeping things had opportunities to get picked multiple times. And for the listener, the watcher, once the episode has been released for a couple weeks, we're going to post our draft teams on social media, and we're going to turn it over to you to vote for who you think, quote unquote, won the competition. Now, this draft is going to operate in a snake style, so the last pick in round 1 goes first in round 2, and we go back up to the top, so on and so forth. And finally, the draft order. This is something that we did not want to do beforehand, so we're going to determine this right here, right now, to avoid any of us having the opportunity to strategize too much before this moment. So I have brought 2 impartial, objective Utes to do the honors. They are my boys, Jude and Ewan, so let me get them down here really quickly.
Yay!
And as Jude and Ewan come in, I think it's really important that the listeners know we have been sitting on pins and needles because this draft order is going to change everything instantly. And there's things that I know I really want, and I feel like my team won't be complete without. And if I end up picking 4th, we're in some real trouble. So let's turn it over to these young stars here. Can't wait to see what we pick.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have my official Gmote 5 timers hat here to do the honors. I've got Adam's name, I've got my name, I've got Heather's name, and I've got Clarissa's name into the hat. We're going to give it a big shake. Ewan, you get to pick the first name out of here. Don't look, grab a name. Got his eyes closed over here. Favor and Daddy, I hope. Let's see. The very first pick is going to Clarissa,
damn it.
number 1 pick. All right,
Baby
Jude,
first.
go ahead and pick one. Okay, hold on. Let's see. You want to read the name out? Who gets the number 2 pick?
Heather.
Heather, number 2 on the
Okay,
board.
right.
All right. Jude, you
Andrew,
get
I
to
know
pick
you've
third.
raised well-mannered boys because
Ladies
they
first.
operated under the system of ladies first. Yes.
Ladies
right.
first.
Okay, third pick. Adam goes third,
Okay.
which of course, Ewan, pick the last name out of there. Let's make sure it's official. You guys did such a good job.
Yeah.
The last person is indeed Daddy-O. I will be going
Naked
fourth.
at the end.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. You guys go enjoy you some McDonald's, okay? You did
Good
such
job,
a great
boys.
job. Make sure you shut the
Fantastic
door on
job,
the
you
way out, okay?
guys.
Thank you.
All right, I'll hug the bear. All right. See you guys. Have fun. All right. So once again, Clarissa, Heather, Adam, and myself. Oh boy. Okay. I did tell the group quietly that I was hoping I was going to end up either in first or fourth. I do like being in the bottom of the snake pit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you can strategize by
Whoa.
then. That's the thing. I was kind of like 4th.
that's
would be
right.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm actually, before we get started, I'm kind of happy I'm not
Uh-huh.
first because that's kind of really,
Yeah.
you're kind of putting yourself out there. And
Uh-huh.
it's
When you
like,
got to wait a
yeah,
long
and
time
you've got
to
to
pick a
wait
second time.
long time,
I
and
know.
depending what you pick, like all the good people in a certain category could be gone. Not that I'm saying we're going to do
And
that.
so
I was
I guess-
so
Clarissa,
excited
but
for a
I'm just
second.
saying.
I guess what we're saying is that the young lady who was only alive for 9 months of the 90s now has the most pressure that
That's
she
right.
has ever faced from this decade, other than her entrance to the world.
Just some of that pressure. Oh man.
All right,
yeah.
you're on the clock, Clarissa. Start us off however
Okay.
you want to with your pick.
All right. Best picture. I was really stressed about this one because I went down the rabbit hole with this pick and I was worried that someone was going to take it. I know when I mean I went down the rabbit hole, like my husband was worried. And so I'm going to choose Silence of the Lambs, 1991.
Okay.
This is so great. I guess the 1992 Academy Awards, but came out in 1991. This, oh my gosh. So I watched this movie for the first time this year, actually. I think it was April or May. And immediately I was so enthralled with how amazing the filmmaking was. So I was thinking about maybe saving this pick for like shooting for best actor, actress, but honestly, just overall as a film, it's way too good to only pick in one category for me. So I'm happy I'm snagging it for best picture.
Great
Yay.
snag. Great. I just did the 91 episode on my show, and this, of course, won revised Best Picture. It held up its true award. So people are very, very pro Silence of the Lambs. Excellent pick. Can't go wrong with that one.
My red pen is already crossing things off of my what I wanted list. So that's always a sign that I think you've done something right.
Yay. Good.
And I can't imagine that's the last time a Silence of the Lambs Oscar winner will go off the board. But that is the perfect way to start the tone here. Nice job, Klarissa.
Yay.
All right, Heather, we are now up to you. You are on the clock.
All right.
So if you want to take a second and then let us know what you got.
Well, my top picks are still there.
Good sign for you.
Good sign.
Wow.
Now, I have to kind of strategize already. See, it's already started. Because I have to think about the ones that are in multiple categories. You know, because technically all the Silence of the Lambs could be gone by the time it gets back to me. But then looking at other things in those other categories, I'm kind of like, you know, there's other things I could pick. And also it's a me draft. So I'm doing this for me. And
who else would you do it for?
To win. I will remember. I do have a history of winning against you two.
That's true.
Sorry, first time I mentioned it today. I know.
First of many, yeah.
It's taken me 10 minutes. It's taken me 10 minutes. But at the end of the day, my favorite and the best picture winner, in my opinion, ever, I will be drafting Schindler's List in Best Picture.
Yeah. Yep.
Great choice.
Yeah. Heather, obviously you're going to talk to us about that a lot, but my red pen, that was my number one choice for Best Picture. So obviously we're in agreement. Tell us, what is it about Schindler's List that meant so much to you that you take it second overall and your first pick without a doubt?
Yeah, so Schindler's List, very formative seminal movie for me. So I am considerably older than Klarissa and older than everybody else here. So I remember going to see Schindler's List in the cinema in 1993 when it came out, and I was transfixed. And I don't know if I'd been to see something that long in the cinema, because it is a long film, but I didn't realize the length. And then there's so many images that just are so haunting. It's the girl with the red dress. It's, Ray Fiennes' performance, who we cannot draft today, unfortunately. Seriously, what's going on?
Some people still think he's won it.
Yes, well, there was a comment on my Instagram yesterday by somebody. So it's that, but it's also, and I just remember the first, and okay, so you all know that I am, I like my bleak films. I mean, this is quite bleak, but I don't get very overly emotional at films. And I remember being the first film that I cried at in cinemas. And it's the last scene where they all come on with, to his grave, and the survivors walk past his grave, and I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. And I think Spielberg has many masterpieces. I think this is his ultimate achievement. And I considered the director pick, but not to give too much away. Obviously, he pops up another time in director. And also, I think I really wanted to get that picture pick. So that was top of the draft for me. And I'm excited to get it. And Silence of the Lambs I had second. So, yeah.
Nice.
All right. Adam, that means we'll see if Adam follows suit with Best Picture, if he goes down one of the category rabbit holes, but it is definitely over to him now. He's on the hot seat.
Yeah, I mean, two unbelievable choices for Best Picture in Silence of the Lambs and Schindler's List, both two of my top four without question. But I'm actually going to move over to a different category because when I did my very, very short amount of research for this pod, I decided to rank things in terms of what was my number one overall, not just number one in each category. And I'm actually going to move over to the Best Actor category, a category that I got to be honest, when I look back on things, there's a couple of choices on there that were kind of hot at the time, and either for legal reasons we just can't pick anymore, or performances that just haven't aged over the last 26 years, 27 years in some cases, the way that we thought that they would. But my number one on my entire board, and what I consider one of the most memorable and important film characters ever created, is, of course, Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
As Dr. Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs. So there's that film again. Whether it's a film villain list, whether it's an intriguing character list, I don't know if I've seen a character on film do more with less screen time. And you want to talk about getting a lot of shots up in about 20 minutes of screen time. What Anthony Hopkins did not only defined his career, it gave him a springboard into the next 3 decades of work. And some of the monumental and Academy Award nominated and winning roles that we've seen since 1991 and the 92 Oscars only happened because of Silence of the Lambs. So for me, it's a no-brainer that I go Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs.
Great pick.
Nice.
Great
pick. Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
Absolutely number one on my actor list.
Well,
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. That you know
actually,
what? Like in the top
damn
4
you,
picks,
Adam.
we should hit home
Actually, not
runs.
congratulations.
We should
damn
be
you.
hitting home runs. Look,
yeah,
look, I know it's closer to dinner time in Germany, Heather, and so maybe you're getting a little ornery, but I've just had a nice breakfast. I got out and I got some leaves raked, so I'm in a great mood. I got my number one overall pick. Now, here's the
got my
problem.
nice
If you want to start
Chianti.
damning anyone, the gentleman in red right now is about to take 2 picks in a row.
Oh,
Fourth, and then he
shots
gets to
will
come
be
back on the turn.
fired.
So,
Yeah.
so let's
Yeah.
find out. Andrew, what do you got
Well,
for us?
I'm almost fainting right now because I thought for sure if I was going to end up in the 4th spot, my top 2 picks would be gone at this point, and they're not. Both of my top 2 picks are on the board. I will definitely say, though, you 3 have taken my top 2 Best Picture ranked films and my number 1 Best Actor rank. So no shade to any of those picks. They would have all been right at the top. But
Yeah.
I'm going to start with I can't believe I'm getting the opportunity to use this pick. For me, I tried to base it more on category depth to begin with my strategy. And unfortunately, there's one category that I think is the thinnest. There are a few good performances, but I'm going to start with Best Supporting Actress.
So obvious.
And for my money, I think this is my favorite acting win of the entire 1990s. It is Marissa Tomei in My Cousin Vinny.
All right.
Which is, it's such a breath of fresh air in the middle of all the heaviness of the 90s. You get this incredible, funny acting performance. I love everything about Marissa Tomei and My Cousin Vinny. I did not think I would get to display the shirt, but I've got the law offices of Vincent Gambini on right now. I am stunned. When she gets on the stand and has to go toe-to-toe with Joe Pesci, she's just perfect. I can't believe that I got Marissa Tomei right here. As much as I enjoy all the other 9 women in supporting actors for various degrees, I think Marissa Tomei for me was a slam dunk. So that's going to be my pick in supporting actress, Marissa Tomei.
Great.
And just proving that maybe we do share a brain from a state away. She was also my number 1 choice within that category. So again, red pen, busy at work.
You look like you want to say something, Heather.
I was just going to say, I knew she was going to be somebody's number 1, and I knew that she would not be left. But that's fine because I have many plan Bs and Cs and A+ and A1, so it's fine. But I knew somebody would draft her first. And I mean, I think it was the thinnest of all the categories by far. And so I felt like, I had to jump in there. For my second pick, now that I'm on the turn and I'm back in, I'm going to stick with the supporting side of things. So I'm going to go to Best Supporting Actor now. All right,
here we go. Here we go. So I only have so many opportunities to choose my favorite film of all time in the 1990s or period. And I'm going to go with the person who went toe-to-toe with Marissa Tomei and My Cousin Vinny. I am, of course, going to go with Joe Pesci in Goodfellas. I'm not trying to be a funny guy here. I just love this performance so much. Everything about Joe Pesci in Goodfellas, he basically built his whole career from 1990 on between Goodfellas and Home Alone back to back, and I just think it's a class above all of the other supporting actors that year. Again, a really good field. If I had to get stuck with my number 2 pick in supporting actor, I won't say who that is, but I would have been really happy with that as well. But I think Joe Pesci has to represent Goodfellas, which definitely, I haven't covered that year on the show yet, but I have a feeling when we get to 1990 at some point, Goodfellas is going to do a much better job on revisions than it did in the moment. So I'm going to give Joe Pesci and Goodfellas my pick in supporting actor.
Yeah, without question. And when you look at the run, and I know you just mentioned this, but Pesci having Home Alone, Goodfellas, and then coming back with My Cousin Vinny the very next year, very few actors can compress that much quality of performance in that short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is the first time. I knew I was going to get something good with the 3rd overall pick. But now, as I look at a snake style draft and I see that the pick comes back to me at 6, but looking ahead, I'm not going to be picking again until 11. That scares the heck out of me. It scares the heck out of me because if I screw this one up, we got problems. So I'm right now between 2 categories. And like Andrew, I kind of started looking at like, where am I okay? And where am I going to be thin if I don't get it? And I am going to move. My first choice was in Best Actor. I'm actually now going to move over to Best Actress.
Uh-oh.
And I have a 1 and a 1A. And right now, the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other are doing battle in my mind. And I know I'm in a can't miss position, whichever one of these I take. But I'm going to trust my gut. And with the 6th overall pick, I'm going to be taking Frances McDormand from the Coen brothers film Fargo in Best Actress. And I won't tell you guys for the sake of the show who my number 1A was because I just coin flipped. But I'll just say this. The Coen brothers make brilliant films, but they also make brilliantly bleak films. And against the backdrop of the absolute snowbound desolation and heartbreak of Fargo, you get this character that Frances McDormand created that's so full of life and so full of hope and so drop down hilarious. And in only the way that a Coen brothers character can be. I never thought it would be possible when Andrew's beautiful little sons came in, they pulled the names out of the hat, and I saw I was picking 3 and 6. I never thought I would get Hopkins and McDormand, but here the movie gods have smiled upon me. So thank you so much, and I am very happy to take that pick.
So happy.
You can bet money Heather was going with Frances McDormand on the next pick.
Yeah.
So happy
yeah.
for you, Adam.
It sounds like it.
Great. Oh, well, makes my job easier.
It sure does. Well, you know what it does? It limits your choices.
That was the first big shift probably on your board, Heather.
Yeah, but I actually didn't. I did kind of figure that if somebody wanted to sabotage me, they would pick Frances.
What a way for it to work out.
But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
You know, fine is that 4-letter word you never want to hear a lady say. It's fine.
We're already getting, it's very Ross from Friends. We're already getting a little bit thin in certain categories, you know, and so I'm just going to have to steal this one while I can. And I will be drafting in Best Actress, seeing as Frances has been taken away from me. I will be going to the magnificent, wonderful Jodie Foster for Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Because I have been left no other choice.
Yeah.
It's all right.
You know, she wasn't my second pick in that category.
Because you already had Hopkins. You couldn't take Foster.
I know. I had to eliminate her from myself. This is complex.
Yes.
That makes the actors category a little thinner already.
But anyway, yes, well.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, what can we say about Jodie Foster? It is a fabulous. I watched the opening again to Silence of the Lambs yesterday just because I wanted to remind myself of how she was introduced. I remember it being a great introduction to that character and just how tough she is, and she's doing because what you remember mainly is her first meeting with Lecter, But I was like, no, she's introduced in a different way. She's introduced doing her sport, running through the woods, really, showing her toughness and kind of in a man's world in the FBI. And, but she's such a little person as well, and just how strong she is and how strong she is through that entire movie, and how she's, up against Lecter and she stands her ground. And I just don't think anybody else could have played that well as Jodie Foster. And it is a fabulous win from a fabulous picture. And I did a Foster at 1 actually originally, and I was like, no, I've got to be Heather and move Frances to 1. So having Foster is,
you got your 1A.
It's great. It's fine. It's good. Yeah. So yes, I'm very happy to get Jodie Foster.
You still got a great pick. And to your point about the way that Clarice Starling is introduced to us within the film, it is quite ominous. It is like nearly dusk, or it's either dawn or dusk, but the light is low, and it looks like they shot in natural light. And what Jonathan Demme did there is he kind of created the tone for the entire film. Here you have this solitary, undersized woman participating in these calisthenics, and it almost feels like, God, is she overmatched? Is she up to the task? And of course, the rest of the film's runtime holds her to that fire and to find out if she is up to the task. And so what a beautiful piece of filmmaking, and a great choice by you, Heather.
And what's crazy is we've got 7 picks on the board right now, and 3 of them are Silence of the Lambs. So I'm the...
What does that tell you?
Exactly.
Still one available.
It's a perfect movie. Yeah. I think, too, Jodie Foster just really perfectly encapsulates Clarice from the book. I feel like there's so much, because Lecter has a respect for her because she's so intellectual, but she does it so gracefully in this movie. Like, Jodie Foster is perfect. So I love that pick. I was sweating because I thought someone was going to take my best actress, and I was in a full panic. But you didn't.
Whoa.
So here we go. I am choosing Kathy Bates.
Yep.
Oh
my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, Adam, I figured she was your 1A. So I love that. Oh my goodness. I've probably rewatched this movie 3 times a year since I've seen it. It's probably my favorite Stephen King. I just love it so much. I love James Caan and Kathy Bates. I think they have such a great chemistry. It's one of those movies that I feel like could be adapted to stage so nicely with the way that they do it. And wow, she is phenomenal. You never know what she's going to bring when she comes through that bedroom door every single scene. So, wow, I was so anxious, but what a relief. I snagged her. So happy. Great pick with just her winning that award. I think too, she deserved it. And when I was going through this decade and looking at all of the wins, it was almost like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm so happy she is even just on the board for a choice. So yeah, I'm really happy with that.
This is where strategy bit me in the butt a little bit, because my top 3 actresses are all gone. So now I'm definitely going to get the scraps.
You waited.
Yeah.
Clarissa, I think the timeliness of your choice is important too, because recently we know Kathy Bates has announced her official retirement. As soon as she's done shooting Matlock, she's going to kind of ride off into the sunset. And congratulations to her on a career that I don't know was completely defined by the character in Misery, but it's certainly the one that I think to the most.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too.
It's basically The Waterboy and Misery are her 2 sort of iconic moments.
Can I tell you why I didn't take Kathy Bates?
Please.
Yeah.
So I had her 1A, and then I went with Frances McDormand because I thought, had I taken Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter, followed by Kathy Bates in Misery, that someone was going to put me on a watch list of some kind. And I was like, I cannot define myself in such a way. So I had to drift away from some of that negativity. But
a little too far down the dark road if you went there.
I know.
I was like, those are my 2 picks.
There's still plenty of dark
the
stuff in
Lambs.
Supporting actor for you, Adam.
You are correct. Yeah, what does that say about the 90s? It was the home of grunge music. They were my formative years as a moviegoer. And I'm looking across the board, and what we've picked is some really deep, dark stuff. So maybe that's the best filmmaking. Take note, Netflix. Maybe we should make real movies again.
Hey, Frankenstein was
Yeah.
fine.
I like that you
Oh,
use
I
the
haven't
word
seen it.
No, it was
fine
good. I enjoyed it.
because the word
There's
fine,
another fine.
yeah, I think there were elements of Frankenstein that were really laudable. And then you had that very vanilla sheen
Yes.
of Netflix
Yeah.
CG sprinkled all over it. That just, it took something that I thought really could have been special. And a Jacob Elordi performance that I thought was worth talking about. And it just kind of brought it back to the mean and reminded you these are the same people who made like Red Notice. And I guess I was a little disappointed ultimately, but it was a fine movie, 4-letter word.
Fine.
It was really good for a Netflix film.
Okay, I was like, I
that.
haven't seen it yet, so
I really
getting a lot
enjoyed
of
it, but I
feelings.
didn't see it on Netflix. Although you didn't either, did you, Adam? So, but it, yeah.
No, I saw it on IMAX.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's the way to see it. But I just remember.
Well, I don't know if we
remembered
moved it
was
up or down
Elordi,
your list,
so
Clarissa.
She stayed with me, which is weird. Mm.
It's like I'm already having so many feelings about this movie and I haven't seen it yet. Like,
Well,
that's
you
on my
certainly
to-do
need to
list today,
see
but...
it.
Oh, it's my to-do list for today.
Yeah,
Like,
and as a
like chores
cinephile,
come after. Oh yeah.
yeah, and like the Del Toro has earned you watching that movie just based on what he's done.
Yeah.
But, in my estimation, it's just been so much more interesting in his past, and I think you could make the argue that the Pinocchio version that he released a few years ago I thought was a more interesting adaptation of a classic story than what we got out of this somewhat vanilla, somewhat rote version of Frankenstein. But again, to each their own. And so I do hope you watch it, and I do hope you enjoy it.
I just watched an interview with Del Toro yesterday, and he sort of said that he's kind of glad that he's now got this behind him. I think it was such like the white whale for him throughout his whole career. He's always wanted to make it. And he even mentioned, and I hope we get this in the next Guillermo del Toro version, he mentioned he wants to maybe make something gritty like the 70s films. And I thought, if we get something totally out of left field from Del Toro, that would be amazing. You know, he's done everything he can in the fantasy genre.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No more love stories with aquatic creatures. Yeah.
All right. Well, Clarissa, you are still on the board because we're through the snake.
Yeah.
So you got the next pick still for us.
Okay, this was the other one I was in a panic because this category I've only seen 2 movies from, which is surprising in the whole category. And one of them I can't have because, of course, I chose it. But I am going to choose Kevin Spacey, American Beauty, for Best Actor. I have not seen Forrest Gump. I haven't seen His Gazettes. I haven't seen Life is Beautiful. I haven't seen Reversal of Fortune. I haven't seen any of those except for American Beauty and Silence of the Lambs. So I was like, I have to get one that I've seen, please. So I was in a panic, but also I do feel like his performance in this movie is so phenomenal. I mean, when he's handing her that food through the fast food window, it is so great. But this movie, the first time I watched it, it gave me the ick because I
can't imagine why.
Perfectly normal film.
Yeah. It's just totally normal, completely normal across the board. But I talked to Sarah Shea about this movie after, and she really shed light on a lot of really specific themes in the movie. And I feel like there's a lot of important conversations that come from this and kind of like shedding light on, problematic feelings in like the human experience. And so I thought that was really cool, but I love the way that Kevin Spacey brought that to the table, and he did such a great job with it. So yeah, I'm really happy with that pick. But I am glad I grabbed it.
I miss the world when we could really appreciate Kevin Spacey for the acting, and just that could be all that there was. It's such an unfortunate situation where you're in because you really can't overlook the power of performance that he's put on screen. The Usual Suspects is definitely still on the board. That may come up as well, but it's hard to argue with what
multiple characters in this decade and multiple performances that really changed Hollywood. Now, I'm going to make a public service announcement on behalf of Klarissa. Leave Klarissa alone. She chose Kevin Spacey with an open heart and an optimistic mind. She judged this man. I said man, not monster. She judged this man on the basis of his work, she separated the art from the artist, and she made the pick based on what she had seen. So you're going to get in those DMs and you stop it. You leave Klarissa alone. She doesn't know Kevin Spacey. She wasn't even alive when Kevin Spacey was doing that stuff. So you leave Klarissa alone. And Klarissa, I want to thank you for making that pick, because now none of us have to. So you really dove on the grenade. Thank you, Klarissa.
We all have our own line we have to draw with art from artist, and there's a separation, and some people push it a little further, and some people, like I love Chinatown unconditionally. I don't have a lot of love for Roman Polanski, but I cannot. There's certain things you just can't separate art from artist, and I think Kevin Spacey's work in the '90s is really hard to kind of just disregard blindly. It just is a fact of life. Heather knows.
Well, I was gonna say too, like I also, again, I wasn't alive for that. And so when I'm having these movies, I mean, my whole journey that brought me to the movie space has been that there are a lot of classics that I haven't seen. And so I'm chipping away at them. But I'm going in 100% blind to the majority of them. I'm not coming in with any cultural context or preconceived notions. Even I was introduced to Woody Allen by accident. I didn't know anything about him before going in to one of his movies. And then I was really uncomfortable because it was Annie Hall, and I actually hated it. But I at least went in with a completely blank slate, and I just had nothing on my mind going into those movies. And so I think that was a really interesting experience to have, specifically also with Kevin Spacey. Was like I just didn't even know too much about him before diving into his kind of like filmography, and now knowing it's really hard to see that and appreciate it, but I'm glad that I had an experience before knowing that. So,
well, and to your point with Best Actor, this is such a kind of a weird field of 10 where a lot of these movies just aren't really remembered the way, like, it took me a bit to, I had never seen Reversal of Fortune before a week ago. I'd only recently seen Shine in the last year, so some of these are a little tougher to get to. All right, Heather, you are now up with the next pick.
Yeah, I mean, back to Kevin Spacey. So in the 90s, it's actually before all the kind of the he stories really came out. But if anybody had asked me in the 90s who my favorite actor was, he would have been top 3 for sure.
Yeah, easily. Yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
And
even up through House of Cards, he was still like front and center.
Yeah, but then he also made like weird choices anyway, and did some weird films. We're like, why are you doing this? You're a 2-time Oscar winner. What are you doing? What is it, Fred Claus or something like that? And it's like, what are you doing? And some weird choices, and then all the kind of stuff with the, just generally being quite icky on set, or what he was, with his theatre and the stories that came out in the theatre in London, and with underage boys and all this kind of thing. Which, by the way, we should cover our backs here and say that he was cleared. So, just in case.
Yeah, and I think there's always like the legal court, and then there's the court of public opinion. And O.J. Simpson was exonerated on the charge of double murder. Look, I'm coming at this thing as a Chicagoan, and we gave rise and much love through the 90s to R. Kelly. And look, Michael Jordan is synonymous with I Believe I Can Fly. That was my childhood. Yeah. And to take the ice cream scoop and have to scoop the I Believe I Can Fly out of that and still have Space Jam be a big part of my life, it's tough. I mean, just this week, the Michael preview for the Antoine Fuqua biopic on Michael Jackson. Now here this comes. So it's a really tough conversation to have. And like I said, I'm just thankful that Klarissa made it happen for us. And for the record, Spacey ain't on my team. Never was going to be on my team, but he's on Klarissa's team.
And it wouldn't shock me if he ends up on Heather's team at some point too.
Wow. Well, let's see how this plays.
That opened a door for you.
I've got a few alternatives, but no, I'm just going to say this as Andrew's hinted at it. I stand by, if I'm looking at those lists of the best supporting acting performances, if I just ranking the performances, I would have him number 1. The question is, do I draft him or not? I mean, I'm just putting it out there. It's my opinion. That performance in The Usual Suspects is insanely good. And that is a well-deserved Oscar.
You're right.
And
You should definitely draft him now.
Well, yeah, but
go
I've
for
got
it,
actually
Heather.
got quite a funny story about another one that I might draft. So, well, not funny. It's not funny. I just came up with a good reason behind it. So, anyway, is it me?
It is you.
It is.
Right. Okay. This is really tough. Because I've realized that by taking what I have taken so far, I have shot myself in the foot in a number of other categories. Because now, obviously, I can't take Jonathan Demme, and I can't take obviously I can't take Spielberg in director for Schindler's. But
That's correct.
But I can
What?
take Sir Stephen as director of the one time where Best Picture and Best Director was not aligned. And I'm going to be drafting Sir Steven Spielberg for Saving Private Ryan in Best Director.
I love it. I love that you've knighted
I
him.
have. He is a honorary knight of my empire. There we go.
I love it. Yeah.
Love it.
This is a monumental film. Talk to us a little bit about your choice here.
I not really much to say, really. To me, director, I have a list of 4 or 5 that I'm comfortable drafting. I've now ruled out Demme, and I'd ruled out Spielberg for Schindler's. So it came down to this choice and maybe another obvious one and another one maybe. And we just have to see what happens with picture. But yeah, I just think this is another masterpiece from the master, Spielberg. I know it is one of the, obviously, Shakespeare in Love with Best Picture. It's one of the most maligned. Best Picture wins because everybody says Spielberg should have won, or rather, Saving Private Ryan should have won. It brings, it's another war film that is another masterpiece by Spielberg, whether it's, the various beach scenes or the acting performances throughout the whole thing, or the timing. I find the pacing and the editing top notch in this one.
Yeah.
It's just another master at work. And one of the best war films, again, by Spielberg. And we go on about his blockbusters, and his blockbusters are amazing, but he was really doing some serious work as well with obviously Schindler's and with this. And yeah, the man can do it all.
To no great surprise, he also won a revised director on this show, and
about 5 times.
This will be coming out in this will be coming out in January. But if you go back in the catalog a little bit, around Thanksgiving of 2025, I will have like an 8-hour Steven Spielberg double episode with like a bunch of different contributors talking about Spielberg, Saving Private Ryan. So this movie obviously means a lot to a lot of people, and the direction of Spielberg in the 90s is hugely influential. So can't go wrong with that pick.
Yeah, it's outstanding. It's outstanding. And what is also outstanding is, now that I'm looking at the draft board, many of my very passionate selections have survived the double picks by Klarissa. Now, the pick by Heather just tilted me a little off axis, and I had a game plan coming in, but I now am going to deviate just a little bit from that plan, and I'm going to go to a category that I might have saved, but I'm going to go there right now. So I'm going to go to Best Supporting Actor. Best Supporting Actor. And I'm going to take my number one choice within the category. And in Best Supporting Actor, I'm taking Robin Williams for Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And I'm going to say this to the 3 of you. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
He was my 1A. If I didn't pick Pesci, he was definitely going to get picked pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I don't know if we can say that Robin Williams dominated the 90s, but when I think about myself coming into the decade, very much a child, and what he did as a vocal performer in Aladdin really defined my love for animated film. And then as still a young man, but somebody who was getting closer to the end of my childhood, by the time Good Will Hunting came around, I really saw myself as someone who loved movies. I was considering myself a cinephile at that point as a teenager. I was actively seeking out movies and roles and directors, and I was going to the theater. I was paying whatever money I had to see them. And for someone who I remember growing up watching on Mork and Mindy, for someone whose work on movies like Popeye, I absolutely adored, even though I know it was a troubled production and it wasn't a very good movie. And to see him deviate and go the other direction, and the depth and the dynamism and the passion that he instilled in this character, and the compassion that his character was able to show to a kid who had been kicked around his entire life, I think in a lot of ways it defined who I wanted to become when I was an adult. And when you become an adult, sometimes you got to walk away, right? And you've got to chase your passion. And sometimes, even though something is right there in front of you and everybody else is telling you that's the most important thing, sometimes you say, no, I got to go see about a girl. I've got to go take care of the business that I need to take care of, because life is full of taking risks, right? And Andrew, you and I have taken a risk, right? In this partnership, what we're doing on this episode and with the Movie Archer Podcast Network. And so I think that this is a role that continues to inform the way that I live my life. And that's not bad for a fictional character. So Robin Williams, Good Will Hunting, and I have no qualms about it.
And I mean, we all know that movie's not getting made. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon have basically talked about Robin Williams coming on board that project, skyrocketed that thing into getting made.
He saved it.
Absolutely.
Recently rewatched this. It randomly was on TV, or did I walk in and my husband watching it on Netflix? I can't remember. And you just get pulled in. I'm like, oh, this is Good Will Hunting, great. And it's one of those ones where you get Shawshanked. You sit down and you watch it to the end. It's in the Urban Dictionary, guys. Shawshank, to be Shawshanked. Yeah.
Which is funny because shanked is like a prison term, and it's a movie about a prison, so it's perfect.
Yeah. You get trapped.
And we talk about Shawshank, and yet none of us have the opportunity to pick anything Shawshank related
because
here. Crazy.
Ugh.
90s.
Crazy.
Thanks, 90s.
I can't even pick it in any wild cards. It's nowhere.
I know.
What?
That's why I had to take Goodfellas in the one spot I felt like I had a chance to represent for my film.
Yeah. Nope. No Shawshank.
All right. Well, so yeah, I'm on the double now. So
all right.
This is interesting. So I know I'm not going to be picking Best Actress anytime soon because I'm the only one with a Best Actress pick left, and I don't feel too concerned about what I'm going to end up with there. Wildcard's going to stay on the board for a bit. It's going to be a little bit of a game between me and Heather. We're going to be playing some chicken and Best Actor. We'll see. We're the only two left in Best Actor, so we'll see who gets what. Maybe I'm gonna join you all, or at least Heather and Klarissa, in Best Picture. Now I'm gonna get my Best Picture off the board. You two have Schindler and Silence of the Lambs. I'm going to take what I think is the third Best Picture winner of that year. And it is, my buddy Kieran B is going to love hearing this. It is Clint Eastwood's iconic revisionist Western. This is the revisionist almanac. Got to take a revisionist Western. Unforgiven this may have been the first true Western I remember seeing as a kid, well before I got to Good, Bad, and the Ugly and all that stuff. I fell in love with the movie. Clint Eastwood is pulling on all of his history as an actor in the business and becoming this withered old man. Morgan Freeman, just unbelievable in the film. Gene Hackman's delivering just of the highest quality. I love the movie in every aspect. I've got to represent for Unforgiven, so that's going to get my Best Picture.
That is my one blind
It's a brilliant choice.
One blind spot in the Best Picture list.
That's wild. I can't believe you've never seen Unforgiven.
Nope, sorry, Kieran.
It's such a distinctly American film for a couple of reasons. One, obviously it takes place in the Old West, but when you look at film and film history, it is impossible to do that investigation without the name Clint Eastwood. And not only Clint Eastwood in front of the camera, but behind, as he was towards the end of the 20th century. And then you wrap in the Gene Hackman, may he rest in peace. You wrap in the Morgan Freeman. I think that this is one of the rare 90s movies that has aged like a fine wine. It has only gotten better the further away we've gotten from its release. And there will come a day, unfortunately, that all of the older gentlemen that I just mentioned will no longer be with us. And I believe that on that day, it may vault itself into the Mount Rushmore of Western films. We still have too much Morgan Freeman and the rest to go, and may they live another 25 years. But when that day comes, Unforgiven, Andrew, what a great pick.
Yeah, I've been on record plenty with talking about how I think Clint Eastwood's kind of fallen off of a cliff in the last like 2 decades or so, since he doesn't need to be making movies still in the 90s. However, he can make movies as long as he wants to. He has certainly earned enough credit in the bank to do whatever he wants for as long as he lives. I think he's 94, 95 at this point in his life, and he's still out there making films.
Shouldn't be making films in his 90s, but the films that he made in the 90s.
There we go.
But who are we to say? Now, hey, Andrew, I'm looking at our draft board here, and it looks like you have another pick.
3 rounds down.
I am indeed. Yeah, I'm up next.
And that pick kind of represents the end of part 1, doesn't it?
It does. So that is 3 rounds in the books. And as Adam said, we are done with part 1 of this draft. You're just going to have to wait a few days for the second part. But I promise you're going to want to come back to the second part of this draft and the final 4 rounds to see what the 4 of us all pick at the end. So again, this is going to wrap up part 1. Come back in a couple of days and be ready for part 2 to see who does decide what we're going to pick with our final 4 rounds and who has the best team. So come back to this very, very soon, and you will hear more from all of us.